Hello everyone. So today we're going to solve the first problem out of the NeetCode 150 list. And today we're going to start out with duplicate integer. So this is a really easy problem, but I still think it's a great problem to solve. So given an integer array nums, return true if any value appears more than once in the array. Otherwise, return false. So in the example that is given here, we see an array nums, and it consists of 1, 2, 3, and 3. And so true is outputted here because we have two threes in the array. Now in the second example, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the output is false because there are no duplicates in the array. So let's get straight to solving this. So we have an hypothetical array here, and it consists of 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. So you guys might ask, how can we solve this problem? So the first solution that might jump out at you guys is you guys might think of creating two for loops nested within each other. And basically what I mean by that is we're going to have something that looks like this. So we'd have for I in range nums, and then we'd have something like for j in range nums. And basically what this would do is we're going to loop through every single integer in nums, but within each iteration, we're going to have another loop where we are able to compare each integer to every other integer. So one thing I actually have to add here is if I is equal to j, then we actually want to continue. And the reason we want to do that is we don't want to compare any integer to itself because then it's always going to see it as a duplicate. But basically what we're going to do here is, for example, if we start here at 1, we're going to compare 1 to 2. It's not equal to 2, so we can continue. We're going to compare it to 3. It's not 3. It's not the other 3. And it's not 4 either, which means that now we can move on to the next number, which is 2. We compare 2 to 1, it's not 1, it's not 3, it's not the other 3, it's not 4 either. So now we can continue again. So now we get here to 3, we compare it to 1, it's not 1, we compare it to 2, it's not 2, but now we compare it to 3, and it's equal to 3, so now we can return true, since there is a duplicate in the array. So basically, what this would kind of look like in code is, it would be like if nums I is equal to nums j, then we would return true in this case. And the only time we'd ever return false is if we're able to loop through every single number and not find any duplicates. So we'd put the return false somewhere outside here, outside of the for loop. So this is a pretty decent solution. It's pretty intuitive in my opinion. So the time complexity of this is going to be O of n squared. And the reason this is quadratic time is because we have to loop through every integer in nums, which is n integers, and then we have to compare it to every other integer in the array, which is technically like n minus 1 integers, but we can just simplify it to n. So this would be equal to n squared. And then the space complexity of this is just going to be O of 1 since we're not using any extra space. So yeah, like I said, this is a pretty intuitive solution, but I think we can come up with much better. So this is basically what I propose. I think we should utilize a data structure called a set. And basically what a set is, it's just a hash table. So it's implemented using a hash table. And if you don't know what a hash table is, it allows for very fast operations like checking if something exists and adding and removing elements. And these are all done in O of 1 time, which makes it very efficient for these use cases. Now, unlike a hash table usually stores key value pairs, but in sets, we actually only care about the keys. So pretty much what this algorithm is going to be is, again, we're going to loop through every single integer in nums, but now what we're going to do is we're going to start out here at 1, and we are going to check if 1 is in the set. Now, like I said earlier, with a set, you can check if an element is in it in O of 1 time, which makes it really efficient for this use case. So what we're going to do is we're at 1, and we can see that 1 is not currently in the set, so we add it in. and then we go to the next element. We see that 2 is not in the set, so we add it in, go to the next element. Now we see that 3 is not in the set, so we add it in, then finally go to the next element. Now at this 3, we can see that a 3 already exists here within the set. So now what we're gonna do is return false, because as we can see here, we're gonna return true. We're gonna return true as it is true that there is a duplicate within this array. So the time complexity of this is going to be a little better than the earlier solution. It's going to be O of n. And the reason why it's linear time is because we only have to loop through the array once. So we're only going to check n elements. But then the space complexity of this, in the worst case, it's also going to be O of n, because there might be a case where we add every single integer into the set. And basically, if we did this, this would mean that there isn't a duplicate in the set, but you would be able to see more of that in the code. So let's get to coding this. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to first initialize a set. Then after we do that, we loop through every integer in nums. And once we do that, we want to check if n is in the hash set, and if it is, we return true as there is a duplicate. Otherwise, we want to add n to the hash set. Now if we go through every single iteration and we see that none of them have already been in the hash set, then that means there are no duplicates, and we return false as there are no duplicates. So let's get to coding. So we're going to say hash set equals set. Then we want to loop through every integer. So we're going to say for n in nums. We want to check if n is in the hash set. So if n is in hash set, so if it is, we want to return true as there is a duplicate. Otherwise, we want to say hash set.add n to add it into the hash set for the next iteration. And otherwise, if there are no duplicates, we want to return false. So let's submit this.